All right, welcome back. It's another wonderful Friday night. We are burning the midnight oil this evening. We are talking about a couple of different things. Mainly, our focus will be on the 1993 action movie Demolition Man. It was brought to my attention or revitalized in my mind by my co-host Space Zombie. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
Pretty good. I'm like pretty tired. And actually, one of the things we're going to start by talking about is what I did this evening, actually. But yeah, this week kind of whooped my ass. So I'm a little tired this evening, but I'm excited to talk about this movie. I had a good time revisiting it because a couple of years go by, you forget certain things that happen. But it was certainly a good movie. But I do have my criticisms for sure. But no, I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you. You're getting over COVID, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just got the cough and a runny nose, and thankfully, the past couple days, my cough has been dying down.
Mm-hmm.
When it does kick up, it sounds like I am dying, but I'm fine. I promise. Ignore the blood.
Ignore the blood. luckily, there's no transmission through the microphone and or internet, so
don't give them ideas.
Right. Well, yeah, what I did tonight was I went and saw Lightyear with my kids.
How was that?
It was actually really good. It was. I thought it was really well put together. There's some moments that are like, but the writing was actually surprisingly good. It did a lot of like callbacks to obviously Toy Story. Like, giving you the origins of whatever his little sound bites are and like little lines that he had. It doesn't ever show Andy or the toys. So like there was no, like, everyone was freaking out because of the movie poster that came out with like him sitting in the theater with the toys. But you don't see anything of that I saw. I mean, I didn't stay for post credits, but it was
the post credit scene for the Pixar cinematic universe.
Yeah.
The PCU. It sounds like a drug.
Well, I was just surprised because I think people were really, the reviews seemed to be all over the place. Like at first I was seeing the reviews were bad and that it wasn't a good movie. And then I started seeing like the critic reviews were low, but the audience reviews were high. So that generally means that the movie was probably pretty good.
It didn't have enough of the message in it.
Well, that's the thing is like there was a whole bunch of controversy about this movie and there being like a gay kiss in it or whatever. I don't know if it got removed or if I just didn't notice it, if it happened really fast.
You got the China version of it.
Yeah, maybe. It was totally harmless. There, like, whatever relationship that they were referring to was extremely quick and it was not focused on. It was like a very fleeting sort of relationship that took place with a character that was in the movie for 10 minutes. But it was good. I mean, it follows like Buzz Lightyear's origins in like Star Command and as a space ranger. The twist in it, I'm not going to say what the twist is, but the twist was a little meh. Like I wouldn't have chosen that particular twist for the movie, but it was fine. It was fine for a kids movie. It was really well done. Even like the struggles that happen throughout it are not, especially for the female counterpart, are not at all. I mean, they're real hardships, and they actually do have to go through some really challenging things and figure it out and come together as a team. So I thought that was a really, really refreshing.
Well, that's good to hear. I had high hopes for this show, for the movie itself, because I grew up loving Buzz Lightyear. I was a nerd for Buzz Lightyear. I had like 4 of the figures. 3 of them got broken on the playground when I was a kid because this one gal I hang out with thought they actually could fly, so she chopped them off the top of the playset. They did not fly.
Yeah.
Pieces of them flew, but not the way I wanted. So I was excited for this, and then there was the early 2000s cartoon they made for Buzz Lightyear.
Mm-hmm.
That I have I have a VHS tape of the pilot movie they made, which is like the first 3 episodes combined.
Yeah,
that show was awesome because they had Tim Allen voice Buzz Lightyear for those first 3 episodes, and they had a sound alike do the rest, and it's decent. But no, the show is great. So I was hoping they wouldn't mess up this movie. Which, I mean, they're just rewriting Buzz Lightyear's story, I guess. But whatever, I'm not going to whine about it too much.
Well, see, that's the thing. I guess I went into it not knowing any Buzz Lightyear lore. Whatever lore they deliver in Toy Story is about all I know, and it was like I think they included all of that, and then just expanded more on, like, because it's so the Space Ranger Corps or whatever that he's in charge of or that he's a part of isn't actually formed until like the end of the movie. So this is like pre all of that. They're trying. So like he's in a spaceship with his female counterpart, and they are.
I like how you say female counterpart.
Well, her name is Hawthorne, I guess. I mean, no one knows who she is or whatever. Like she's a character that never shows up anywhere else except for here. So Hawthorne, his partner, Hawthorne, his partner, is like they go and investigate this planet. They're trying to find a habitable planet, and they have a bunch of cryo frozen people in storage basically. And they go out on the planet. They discover it's hostile with like hostile plants and some hostile fauna. And Buzz and her, like they're escaping, and they crash land back onto the planet again, and they need to figure out how to
get everyone
remake
home.
Well, yeah, but they need to remake crystallic fusion. Like they mentioned that in Toy Story, like, oh, have you discovered crystallic fusion? Are you still using fossil fuels? So they have to mine in this planet and like set up a little home, and then they have to perfect that like fuel canister or fuel system to be able to go to like light speed. So that's where like he basically is like testing this, but in the process, like they don't understand the theory of relativity at first. So he goes out for a 4-minute mission, but it ends up being 4 years on the planet, and he has to keep doing that to figure out this, the correct formula of the fuel.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the fun thing is like the show itself, like the L cartoon, that's not like that takes place like years after Lightyear's been like a veteran ranger. So
yeah,
hey,
so that's
Disney, you could still fit this in.
Right. No, so they did a good job. Hello, people. Welcome in chat. Trey50, Daniel, how you doing? And Caliver over on Twitch. Good to see you guys. We're just opening up with Lightyear because I saw the movie tonight and with my kids, and I was commenting on it and letting Zombie know kind of what it's about, and it was surprisingly really good. I was expecting to be like really let down, and I was expecting a lot of like woke bullshit and like Buzz. Well, it was. I mean, there was like moments where like, I mean, Buzz's character definitely, like in the beginning, he's this sort of like, and his like, and Hawthorne is definitely the more assertive, like in control one. But by the end, he sort of like comes around and he's a little bit more seasoned, and he understands like what his job is and how to overcome certain things. So it was it was good. He ends up being the hero. It's not like it's a bait and switch.
He has more development than Stephen Grant did in Moon Knight.
Right. Did it have the kiss? No, it did not have the kiss. Or if it did, I did not see it. It may have happened really quickly. But even I was saying earlier, Trey, even the lesbian relationship that was in it was such a background thing. Like kids would not really pick up on it because, like, again, it's literally in the background for the most part, and it takes up 2 minutes of screen time.
I think the worst one was in Onward when they had the girl cop talk about a girlfriend. I think that was more obvious.
Yeah, and I think it's more so obvious for adults because, like, we've been hearing about it and like because we understand it. But my kids who are 5 and 3, they're looking at Buzz like it's the only person they know.
Right.
They're not picking up on any of that. So it was nice that it wasn't like in your face, like here's my girlfriend, let me make out with her real quick so you know that we're in love and we're awesome. Like,
And then sloppy tongue kiss proceeds to happen.
Right. No, it was not that at all. It was very tastefully done.
Yeah.
And like, not even like I'm not even making an excuse for it. It's a very, very, like, again, when I say like you would miss it, like I missed it if it was actually there. They pushed it in the media so hard. Yeah, I
publicity stunt, baby.
Well, yeah, and that's it was really weird because, like I said, it was really not something that was a thing. Maybe they removed it. Maybe that's what the stink was that people were so enraged that they felt they had to remove it. But again, even the relationship itself was very, very subtle in the background. I knew it wasn't like my kids turned to me and was like, "Why is there two mommies?" So,
I remember I saw the article that claimed they put the scene back into the movie, and I made a quote saying, "Watch as they make this the reason why people don't like the movie." 4 minutes later, I get a comment, "You're just homophobic, bro." Like, dude,
right.
I just won the conversation right there.
Right.
You just proved my point.
But yeah, it was. If you have kids, Trey, I know you have kids. I would take your kids to see Lightyear. And Zombie, if you're a fan of Buzz Lightyear and all that stuff, it's definitely a cool. And the shout outs to previous movies are really cool. The only thing I wasn't crazy about was Chris Evans as Buzz Lightyear. I mean, I get it because it's a younger version. Yeah, but it makes sense because it is a younger version. I'm not even mad that they got rid of him because he's conservative or whatever. But like,
he's not even like an out and proud conservative. They just assume he's conservative because of things he said.
Right. But yeah, it was good. Chris Evans did an okay job, but I all I thought was Captain America the whole time. So I was just kind of like, meh.
Don't worry, Chris Pratt will voice him in the sequel.
Right.
Because Chris Pratt's voicing every animated character, like Mario and Garfield. I thought the Garfield was a joke until I looked it up and it's real.
I just watched the Bill Murray Garfield the other day.
God, the sequel's so much worse.
Oh yeah, I didn't even bother watching that one. Was that Taylor Kitties or something?
Yeah, he gets mistaken with like a royal cat who looks and sounds just like him. The only reason I watched it is because my aunt had like a DVD player in the back of her SUV, and like my cousin's little brother had it on there, and we just had nothing else to do for 3 hours, so we watched it. I think waterboarding would have been more fun.
Probably, yeah.
But speaking of good movies that I thought were going to suck, Top Gun Maverick was fantastic.
I know. I still have to see that. I might have to sail the high seas. I don't want to.
Legitimately, it's worth the purchase. I think.
I know. I've heard.
Like, do the matinee, so it's $5 a ticket.
Okay.
So like any time in the afternoon, like before 6, essentially.
Maybe I'll do that for Father's Day because everyone's like, "What do you want to do for Father's Day?" I'm like, "Oh, go see Maverick then."
Yeah, no, Lightyear doesn't sound mega ultra woke.
So is Lightyear? So Lightyear isn't mega ultra woke like they said. No, it's not at all. And I was saying earlier, and I guess I'll reiterate because people are kind of joining now. The writing was actually halfway decent in this, and I actually felt that like each character had a bit of a journey and an actual struggle to overcome. Where like the female character who is also so. Because he jumps so far into the future, essentially with all his test runs, the person he's with for the most part is actually his original partner's granddaughter. So it's still Hawthorne, but yeah, totally different. And she is not as like doesn't have her space legs like her grandmother did. So she needs to overcome like some challenges, and her little ragtag team of people are pretty bad, but they eventually sort of come together in their own way. They have to use their brain. They're not as strong. They're not as seasoned as Buzz is. And they need to, and like Buzz needs to learn how to work with people like that because he's used to working with like seasoned, space rangers, and these people are not. So it was really good. Like I said, the writing was pretty good. There's only a couple moments that I thought were way over the top. And like I said, the twist at the end is not what I expected, and it might make some people mad.
Is Zurg Buzz's father?
No, it's
Well, then they broke the lore. I can't watch it.
yeah, but he wasn't. That was a stupid gag in the second one, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was like a whole riff on Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
No, Buzz, I am your father. No.
Hot coals in the crotch sound more fun than what?
Than Garfield 2.
Oh, I hope he's talking about that, because Lightyear was very, very entertaining. I would see it again. If I was like, that's I spent $32 on 3 tickets and a small bag of popcorn. Well, hey, if I could get out of work early, if you want to pay my bills, sir.
No, I'm already struggling to pay my bills with getting a 3rd week off work because of Coof.
Well, you got to hit that Twitch grind, man. You got to get that. You got to get paid through them, huh?
I don't have boobs. At least not the good kind.
Yeah, you have moobs, not boobs.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, welcome, Engel. How you doing? So we were just chatting about some Lightyear. It was very impromptu. I made the decision last night to go and see it with the kids because I thought, oh, it'll kill a couple hours and I get to see a movie. Because I mean, I grew up with Toy Story. Toy Story was like, I remember seeing that when I was probably I think the first one came out like 94.
94. It was the first fully animated, like 3D animated movie.
Yeah, I was 9 years old at the time. And between that one and the second one, my little brother would watch like every day. And at that point, I was about 15, and him and I used to watch that all the time. And I just grew up with it.
Yeah.
And,
Toy Story 3 was the last movie I saw with my aunt, who I basically grew up, like she helped kind of raise me before she passed.
Mm-hmm.
And so like she basically put Toy Story into my mind as well as like Transformers and other like sci-fi stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, Toy Story had a special place in my heart.
Yeah, sure. This paid homage to those films really well. And like I said, I don't think it did anything really negative to Buzz. Like again, unless I seriously missed something, it was not a film that like really, like if it did have anything woke in it, it was pretty subtle. And I thought it did the characters justice. I think it introduced some new characters pretty well. And because there's such a gap between like what we know of Buzz Lightyear and this, like they could essentially make another one. Which if I were a betting man, I would say that one would be more woke and probably a bait and switch between Buzz and the new girl. But they don't do that in this one. Like it's really very much about Buzz.
The first one brings you, and the second one does the bait and switch because they have the audience now.
Oh, dude! So this is a good segue because I've been watching The Boys. I don't know if you've watched season 3 at all.
I have yet to finish season 2, actually.
God, you are slacking, man. I thought
I don't even have Amazon Prime right now. I'm just not doing it because it's $15 a month.
That's what you got to pay for the year. Pay for the year, and you're good.
No, I'd rather go sailing with Captain Jack.
So this movie, the season 3 has definitely gone woke. There was the last episode. Basically they do like this whole Black Lives Matter Antifa thing, but they lean hard into BLM. And of course, like the white hero, like they make him go do an apology, and they do a lot of the fucking conservative talking points while he's doing it. And like, then he gets into a tiff and ends up severely injuring A-Train's cousin. So, and A-Train was the one that wanted him to apologize. So now he's all pissed off and conflicted.
Doesn't A-Train get like really fat in this season? Because he's not running anymore.
Yeah. Because he can't really run, and Homelander like fucking busts his balls. It's pretty funny. I mean,
I saw the clip of that on the YouTube. I thought it was really funny.
Yeah, I mean, it's still The Boys. There's still some really good moments, but they're really leaning into some of the woke stuff pretty bad. And
I think that's really funny. When like a week and a half ago, you were singing their praises.
Well, no, I mean, but the thing is the first 2 seasons, I think. Well, the first season doesn't lean into it. The second season tiptoes around it,
It gets a little heavier in the leading up near the end of the season, I think.
Right, but they still did a good job at balancing it out.
I mean, didn't they have like 3 white chicks kicking the Nazi super heroine near the end of the season?
Yeah, but that was even to like sort of make fun of the Avengers thing, where it was like girl power, you know, like they were making fun of that, which is, you know what I mean? Because
I could see that, yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't. But it wasn't like, I mean, they had done it a couple times to like sort of poke fun at that.
Right.
But this season it just leans into like the liberal shit, like
too hard.
Like where it used to be like a balance where you could tell they were making fun of both sides. Now they're like they're using the talking points of conservatives and making fun of them at the same time and pushing the message from like the BLM side. It was really, really weird. But what are you gonna do?
Did you ever watch the like anthology series they made for the boys on Amazon called Diabolical?
No, it keeps like popping up at the end, and I'm gonna wait till the end of this season to watch Diabolical.
So, it's 8 episodes. Each episode's in a different animation style, and
cool.
one of them is set in a animation style that's actually the same style as the comics.
Oh, cool.
And Simon Pegg voices Huey because Huey in the comics is from Scotland.
Well, they modeled it after Simon Pegg, but by the time they developed it, he had aged out, I believe.
Right, but he's voicing it, and it's like, I really wish they kept the boys animated.
Yeah, that would have been
if they kept it in the comic book style. First off, they could have done a lot more with characters because you don't have to look young to voice a certain character.
Yeah.
Like Simon Pegg could have voiced Huey, and the guy who voices the Butcher, like, don't get me wrong, the guy who plays the current Butcher is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. The guy who voices the Butcher is like at the same level of embracing that character of like, this guy will break my kneecaps and laugh about it in 5 minutes later.
No, it's true. Oh, we got a couple more people.
Yeah, we got Herbs and Dozing.
Yeah, what's up, Dozing? How's it going? Herbs, good to see you, man.
Herbs still getting your ass kicked in Warzone?
Hopefully. What was I gonna say? But yeah, the boys season 3, like there's definitely been some really cool moments. The story is fine. It's just those moments where you could tell they're like pandering and pushing the message, and I'm just like, dude, don't ruin this. You don't need to be so heavy-handed with shit. Like, we get it. We go to this stuff to escape from all that. Don't do it. I mean, it would be fine if they would do it from the other side, you know, and poke fun at them more, but
they won't do it.
Yeah, not this time.
Watch the season 4, it goes like hard alt-right all of a sudden.
I mean, if that's what they do, cool, but I just don't see that happening.
Oh, hell no. It'll be
unless they lose a bunch of people.
His PC crashed out. I'm sorry, Herbs. That sucks, man. But God, if you want to see one movie that's out right now that's not woke and it's actually half decent, it's that Chip and Dale movie.
I started watching it. It's
not bad to watch with a kid.
Yeah, that's what
I watched with my little brother. He loves that movie. And all I'm thinking is, this is just like a not as great version of Who Framed Roger Rabbit with the sheer number of cameos from each studio. Yeah. The only part of it I did like is that Seth Rogen is in it, and I'm not a fan of Seth Rogen anymore.
Oh, speaking of Seth Rogen, he's in episode 5 of The Boys.
God, he actually he writes one of the episodes, Diabolical, and it's one of the funniest episodes of the series. Actually, it's like he has his moments where he shines. It's just his latest like insanity tweets annoy the shit out of me.
Yeah, that's the problem, man. Is like he just needs to stick to what he's good at, and like social political commentary is not something he's good at.
God, no.
So
go back to finding cool knives in the back of your broken-in car.
But yeah, his cameo in this latest episode was funny, but it was kind of ironic that he did this particular thing. It's not really a spoiler, but he's like he's watching one of so like they're in this, they introduce another group of soups that were around in like the 70s, and one of them is Soldier Boy, and his girlfriend. What's that?
They're trying to find him, aren't they?
Right. And so his girlfriend, God, I forget what her name is now. The Crimson Countess, is that her name?
I have no idea. I have not watched any of season 3. I just know like of the hashtag the hunt for Soldier Boy.
Yeah. So I think it's Crimson Countess. Like, so the boys go to her like trailer to bait in Soldier Boy because they know that he's going to find her, and she's like running an OnlyFans basically out of her trailer, and
God,
Seth Rogen is like calling in or like, you know, gets her in a private chat, and he's sitting there like in the dark. You see like the little pump of lotion. He's whacking it to her. It's so bizarre.
I mean, that's probably what Seth Rogen does, honestly.
Right? No, like I don't know if it was like poking fun at himself or like I don't know.
He's gonna claim it was making fun of simps, but in reality, it was a self-reflection.
Right. Seth Rogen is in Sausage Party. Seth Rogen, yes, that's the one.
Oh my God, me and my brother were watching Amazon TV because my dad has Amazon. We were in the RV, so we were just watching some random like kid show. We were watching Rumble on there, which is like a Pixar movie on Amazon. It's not half bad, but anyways, Sausage Party came up in like recommended views. My brother's like, "What's Sausage Party?" I said, "You do not get to watch that for at least 10 more years."
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's definitely not a kids movie.
Like when I first watched it, I thought it was a pretty funny movie. Then I watched it again. It's like, like it's still sometimes funny, but it's just the same brand of Seth Rogen humor that's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Like when you're in high school, it's hilarious, but the second you get out of high school, it's meh.
Yeah, it's 2 hours of toilet humor. It's just weird.
And sex humor. Like really crude.
Definition of food porn. Yeah.
Exactly, Engel. Exactly that. But anywho, should we probably get into what this episode's about?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead. I know you're dying to talk about it, so I want you to lead the way.
Oh hell yeah! So all right, so Demolition Man is a fantastic movie from the year of 1990 whatever, starring Wesley Snipes, Sylvester Stallone, Rob Schneider, Sandra Bullock, and a host of other people, including Jack Black, which I found out 10 minutes before this episode.
Yep.
It is a movie about a man lost to time. He gets sentenced to basically years in a fridge and wakes up in the far future of 2032. And he has to deal with the future society and how just god awful it is.
Right.
Like, I kind of wish we had like the trailer playing right now. They'd probably do a lot better explanation than me.
There might be. Those old trailers are like so bad. Let me
probably better than my introduction.
No, I think it's fine. I mean, the only thing I would add to, I mean, if you haven't seen Demolition Man, you should definitely check it out. It's definitely a 1993 campy steroid action film, like testosterone fueled action film starring Stallone. I actually found out that it was originally supposed to be Steven Seagal and Van Damme, and they both turned down the role because, well, Van Damme didn't want to be the villain, and Seagal wouldn't be the villain either. So they both were just like, nah. And Snipes ended up agreeing to be the villain.
Wesley Snipes has so much fun as the villain. You could tell he's having fun.
Yeah, and yes, Dennis Leary is in it as well. This movie has a great like cast. Like of the time, it was probably like one of those like super cast movies where they just have like all big stars.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to bring up is you said Van Damme. I actually was thinking about Universal Soldier while watching this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's another movie I kind of want to talk about. I mean, it doesn't really relate to today's standards, but it's a movie I enjoy.
Oh yeah. I
mean, Van Damme's acting is questionable, but it's great.
You don't watch Van Damme for his acting, though.
No. I'm trying to imagine him as the villain, and it's like this movie would have suffered heavily with Van Damme as the villain, I think.
What I thought was interesting about this movie, like watching it again as like a more mature person, I probably watched this movie, I would say 20 years ago was when I last watched this movie.
Same.
And it was good. There, my criticisms are a lot of like my criticisms nowadays. I think if we're being honest about how this movie is done, it's garbage on some levels, but like what's cool about this movie is the social commentary that like they were taking a stab at in the early 90s that sort of just like became what it is today. And it really illustrated how bad Stallone is at delivering one-liners. He had a couple
You're on
moments.
TV.
Yeah, like there's a couple moments where like if it were like Arnold in that role or someone else, like they would have nailed it, but he just doesn't have the same energy as those guys. I don't know what it
You're on
is.
TV. Smash.
Or doesn't he say like chill out at one point or so? I forget what it was.
Yeah,
But
he
was
says chill out when they're fighting in the cryo facility. But
yeah,
he says you're on TV as he smashes a TV in someone's head. It's like, bro, that's
right.
bad. I mean, that's funny, but it's bad.
Like this movie also reminded me of. It gave me like Fifth Element vibes too. Just like I think it was like the awkward futuristic like costumes that they were, the garb that they were wearing. It just made me think of that similar feeling. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love Fifth Element. That's definitely a movie we got to talk about in the future too.
Mm-hmm.
God, I miss, yeah, the first time I watched Demolition Man, I was like 12 years old. I was staying up late because it wasn't a school night, so I got to stay up late. It was like 2 or 3 in the morning, maybe, and it came on one of the movie channels. Half the time, I had no idea what was going on. But then, there was like the Sandra Bullock, like inviting him into her house and being like, "Do you want to have sex?" And of course, my 15-year-old brain, yes. I wanted to watch that, and then they put the helmets on. I'm like, what is this shit?
Yeah. But
go ahead. Yeah, no, I was gonna say like Engel was saying the Taco Bell scene. The version movie I watched, they replaced Taco Bell with Pizza Hut, and they did a really bad dub because you could see them mouthing the words Taco Bell, but they like re-recorded the line and say Pizza Hut.
I wonder why they did that.
I have no idea. Maybe I just got like a different version of the movie that was like in a different territory.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
Maybe Pizza Hut controls Canada. I don't fucking know.
There was some like weird, like it's the over the top action. I understand it it's from a different era, and like back in the early 90s. It was, Stallone was all roided up. The testosterone fueled action films were really big between him and Arnold and even Seagal was making, he was making those movies and Van Damme.
Arnie Van Damme for sure. God, yep. What's his face? The guy who plays the Russian in Rocky IV.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember his name, but he's in a lot of those movies. He's in Universal Soldier and he kicks ass.
God, what the hell is his name? Oh, Dolph Lundgren. That's right.
Yeah, no. And funny, like that's a smart dude. He's a very smart guy, but he can still kick your ass like it's nothing.
He's like a chemical engineer or something like that. He's got a couple degrees in Russia.
And dude, he looks terrifying still. It's very much like I don't want to high five you because I'm pretty sure I won't have a hand afterwards.
Yeah. This is definitely a cool. Again, like their sort of approach to like what the future may be like if
it's scary how similar we're getting there.
Yeah. I don't know. I know you were really excited to say it, so I go ahead. And you said you had a bunch of stuff that you wanted to say on this. So I kind
of like wrote down notes as the moving along. So like in the beginning of the movie, so Wesley Snipes' character, Simon Phoenix, has taken over Los Angeles as a whole for the most part. It's basically the predecessor to the Chaz, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone.
Right.
That was the first note I said is like, hey, it's just like Chaz, fire, death, explosions. Same thing.
Yeah.
Just on the other coast. Mm-hmm. But so basically Simon Phoenix is running this area, claims to have 20 to 30 hostages. So sorry, I'm kind of stuttering on words here because I like so much shit I wrote down. But so Stallone shows up, who is named John Spartan, which I immediately got Halo vibes from because John 117 is a Spartan,
right?
In Halo, I doubt it was because of that because Halo came out like 4 or 5 years after that, or maybe that inspired Halo. Anyways, John Spartan shows up, kicks ass, shoots like 3 guys, and beats the crap out of another dude. It's like, why did those first 3 guys get to die, and 4th guy gets just a broken everything?
Yeah.
Shows up, kicks Simon Phoenix's ass, drags him out of a burning down building. How he got his name Demolition Man is because every crime scene he went to is destroyed.
Yeah. Over the top.
Yeah, everything explodes. Like, near the end, a random barrel gets thrown at him and it hits the ground, and they have it explode too.
Yeah.
Even though it's just a regular barrel. But anyways, he takes Simon Phoenix out, gets him arrested. He then gets framed for the 20 to 30 dead civilians, get frozen, gets put in crowd cases back in 1996, wakes up 36 years later in the year 2032.
Yeah.
Because, surprise, surprise, the rich and powerful release a dangerous criminal to make their idea of life seem better. So that's that whole thing.
Yeah, they wanted Simon Phoenix to destroy the resistance leader because he was essentially like the guy who was like, I want free speech. I want to be able to go where I want. I want to be able, because everything is outlawed, like salt. No one has salt because it's bad for you. No one smokes because it's bad for you. They don't have toilet paper. They don't
have 3 seashells.
Yeah, they don't like there's no physical like contact really. And it's all run by this one crazy, almost like cult leader. I forget his name. Was it like Cocteau or something like that?
Cocteau.
Cocteau,
I feel like half your name would be banned, buddy.
Yeah.
The toe part.
Everyone gets fined for swearing.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious when he first comes out and he's like, what the hell are these 3 seashells?
Yeah.
And he goes up to the machine and starts just ranting swear words at it to get like a handful of the lines. Like, I'll see you in 10 minutes. He goes back in the bathroom.
Yeah.
So they outlawed, I just flipped on my paper here. They have banned alcohol, caffeine, contact sports, meat, nicotine, non-educational toys, bad words, spicy foods, gasoline, and chocolate. That is all illegal now because the government decided it was bad for you.
Right. And the irony too is like they have such a surveillance state and like everyone's like low jacked basically so they can track everyone and they have like a police force. But when someone who's an actual criminal like Simon Phoenix is on the loose, they can't even intercept him. They have no idea because like they don't even believe in violence.
The cop has a device saying, "What do I do?" to the computer. And here's telling him, say in a firm tone to get on the ground.
Yes.
And then Simon Phoenix proceeds to kick their asses because they are all soy boys, literally soy boys. And Rob Schneider says my favorite quote. We're police officers. We're not trained to handle this kind of violence. And that's what literally your job was meant to be.
But it's a little too on the nose, like nowadays. The police force is very imperfect, and I know there's a lot of bad apples, but
there's recent events we could point at, but I don't want to do that if you don't want me to point it out.
What do you mean?
The shooting in Texas.
Oh yeah, that they didn't even go in. No,
it's like literally your job is to protect the serve, and you decided to protect and serve your own asses.
Yeah, I mean it's certainly been seen and heard many times that police officers they protect property, they don't protect people. It's unfortunate.
Or, you were talking about like the surveillance and everything. In the beginning of the movie, Sandra Bullock is talking to the warden of the cryo prison.
Mm-hmm.
Basically a private conversation. She shows up to the precinct. The chief just straight up says, "Oh yeah, I listened to your conversation. I didn't like what you said. Apologize."
Yep.
Straight up. Like, she apologized to him essentially. And also like the futuristic phrasing of their words. Like, what was it? Like, be well or knowledge assimilated or whatever. Like, this sounds like aliens trying to sound human.
Right.
It felt uncomfortable, and I knew like that was the point of it.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like they totally sterilized their language. Yeah,
like they say city gov or murder, death, kill instead of murder.
Yep.
It's like it felt very Fahrenheit 451 with how they merged the words together with like different symbolism.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was a pretty good idea for the writing. But you were talking about earlier how this is just one of those generic, testosterone movies. Someone quoted it best. I can't remember what it's called. Like the smartest dumb movie of its time.
Oh, for sure. That's how I would classify it, because there's just parts of it that are like ridiculously stupid, and it's like, again, it's not about what's like taking place on screen. It's the writing is really good, in that, like, the message that they're saying, it's very subtle, but if you can, I think it's easier to digest now, because we're sort of living that. We're trying to avoid this, and seeing how certain things are playing out, you think, like, some of the stuff is a little too on the nose. Like, this is why we need to move away from, censoring everyone. And
There is,
oh, go ahead.
so you go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's just there's quite a bit of things in there that I was like, wow, the writing's pretty good, even though, like, some of this action is like poorly choreographed, and like some of the banal, like, lines are just very, like, oh my god, like, sleepy dialogue, but what's taking place is good. Like, the underlying message that's being delivered is solid and on point.
There are for sure some dull moments here and there, but overall, I love this movie, and it's spook. Like, when I watched as a kid, I thought, like, haha, cops will never be that bad. Then I grew up, oh no. Honestly, I feel like ANCAP Gamer would love this movie.
Oh, probably.
I mean, seeing his cop watch and everything, man. But another thing I wanted to point out was like, they're going over John Spartan's record of why he's called the Demolition Man.
Yeah.
And like, he saves this little girl from like a ransom situation. And the news lady goes, "Why did you destroy a $7 million building for a little girl whose ransom was $25,000?"
Yeah.
I was like, that is pretty accurate of the news media to be more concerned about the freaking building.
Right. And then the little girl just goes, fuck off, or something like that.
And like, even John Spartan's like, "Good answer, kid." It's like, yes.
Well, also, like, when Engel said, cars turning into cannolis, like, that's where, like, there were certain parts of this where it was so Fifth Element. I thought, like, oh, this is like something you would see in that, because it was so over the top.
Honestly, I could see Demolition Man and Fifth Element being in the same universe. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, totally.
We're making the Rambo CU.
Rainbow CU. How long is the video, Trey? Is it The Politics of Demolition Man?
I will look that up for sure later tonight.
Oh, it's an hour long. Holy shit.
I mean, I just put that shit in, like, the background, and I just, like, do whatever while I listen to those kind of videos.
Yeah.
I doubt that's like a visual video.
Of course. Sorry. How do they're so good, these guys. The Legion of Memers are just too damn good. Oh, I gotta share this.
Well, please do. Also, Trey, you are right. We are living in a combination of Idiocracy and Demolition Man. Oh God.
They're so good. Shagzolution Man. and the aviators and all.
I mean, he did wear aviators in the movie, didn't he?
Yeah.
Or they were big glasses.
Maybe. I don't know if he wore aviators.
But oh God, there was this one line from Sandra Bullock that I thought was a reference to the Dread movie that they did with Sylvester Stallone. So she's sitting in her office, which is full of like 1990s memorabilia, including a Lethal Weapon 3 poster, by the way.
I saw that. That was good. That was a good call out there.
Also, Rambo apparently exists in this universe. Yeah, Sylvester Stallone's, but whatever. That's like Last Action Hero level meta. But anyways, she's sitting there talking about, like, don't you ever wish something would happen? And her friend, who's named Alfredo, which is like the best name for a guy ever, is Alfredo. He says, "No, I don't want bad things to happen." And she goes, "I knew you'd say that." You're like, is this movie after Dredd? Like Judge Dredd with Sylvester Stallone? Because that's like all he said half the time was, "I knew you'd say that."
Yeah. Oh, the news lad's in chat. What's up, man? Closest I can get at the no, that was perfect. That was a great
Very well
meme,
made, news lad.
Yeah. Well done. Newslet's has been memeing me like crazy, and he's like spot on every time.
I've seen what I haven't talked about yet.
He did the Ryan Gosling one the other day. He put my face on because like Ryan Gosling's playing Ken.
Oh, I saw that photo and I saw like the tweet comments below, and it's like, oh no, oh no.
That was perfect.
I like Ryan Gosling a lot of his movies. Nice Guys, freaking fantastic movie.
Oh yeah, yep.
I'm really sad that movie got like overlooked. I can't remember. It came out during like a different movie at the time that really took up everyone's attention. So The Good Guys never got touched.
Was that the one with? Was he in like that with Russell Crowe? Is that
yeah? Where they were detectives during like the 1930s, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good movie, by the way, Chad. If you want to see a good like detective movie, watch The Good Guys. But anyways,
yeah. Well, you had something.
I'm just trying to figure out what I haven't talked about on my list here. Like I'm check marking everything I talked about to make sure I don't bring it back. But back to when Sandra Bullock's character first enters the precinct for the day.
Yeah,
where we see like the graffiti machine sprays the graffiti and then it gets immediately washed away.
Yep.
And the cops treat that like it's the most abhorrent crime.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, they are not ready for Simon Phoenix.
No, I know, right?
Or God, what was the other thing? Yeah, like dirty jokes is a crime. Essentially, like they're talking about like how we gotta bust people for dirty jokes. It's like, oh well, YouTube's gone. YouTube's just gone at that point then. Free speech doesn't exist. Someone, who was it? I think it was Dozing, quoted part of the speech where the guy said he was for free speech.
Was it
Angle? It was Angle. Yeah, I want to cover my body in lime jello and run naked down Main Street.
Right. I want to smoke a cigar the size of Cincinnati or something like that.
Yeah, it's like that guy was the only one who could deliver that speech like in one part without cracking his mouth. You can see his cronies nearby are laughing.
Yep.
Because like I would be laughing too. That's a hilarious speech. Apparently that guy's a comedian.
Yeah, Dennis Leary. Yeah,
I did not know that Dennis Leary was a comedian. I'm going to look him up later for sure.
Oh, he's great. He doesn't do much anymore, I don't think, but
yeah, no, he was pretty funny. Then there was the whole like the cops are just incompetent at this point, needing a computer to tell them how to get someone on the ground.
Yep.
Like the only weapons they have is a knockout stick that doesn't work half the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they have guns with fully functioning ammo on display in the museum. Are you nuts?
Well, that was like one of the bad aspects of this movie. Like if this were made today, like if I'm going to review this movie as I'm like reviewing Kenobi or something, like that was one of my biggest criticisms. It's like these, like they didn't even take the firing pins out of these things. Like they're loaded with ammunition. The gun, the futuristic gun is functional. Like what is going? And I know it needs to it's happening because it has to happen. But the movie is pushing a different message, and I get it, and I get that's why it's doing it. But it was sort of like, come on. Like just put something in there where he goes and gets, like, maybe they have an ammo in the separate display and he gets some and boom, 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 you know.
Right. I mean, it can make sense. Like they don't expect anyone to actually use the gun, so they just didn't do anything with it. So it can make sense in that universe. They just don't explain it. Or one thing I found funny is like the underground people do a food raid on Taco Bell because it's the only restaurant to survive the franchise wars.
Yeah.
It's like, so at least that product placement makes sense in that universe, I guess.
Yeah.
It's still odd. But anyways, they do this raid and they all have melee weapons. 10 minutes later, every one of them has a gun.
Yeah.
It's like you had guns this entire time.
Yeah.
And you're starving to death. You have a shotgun in your pocket, my dude. Whatever, man.
Well, there's I like the. I really liked. At first, I was like, Taco Bell, what the fuck? And then it just made sense because in this particular world, like, it was in such disarray that now something as crappy as Taco Bell is considered like fine dining. Like everyone's dressed up and they're going to dinner and in limos, and it's.
I love how high society they treat it. It's like, bro, Taco Bell gives you the shits.
Right. I wish Dennis Leary's character was in it a little more.
He's got like 5 lines, I think, in the entire movie.
Yeah, for someone who's like he's meant to be assassinated by Wesley Snipes' character. Like it, I mean, I get why Wesley Snipes becomes like so self-aware essentially that he's like, oh no, I'm just gonna go after this guy because now I have the keys to the castle. So why do I have to take out this other person? I'll just rule it all. So it does make sense, but yeah, Dennis Leary, like I wish we would have heard a little bit more from him. I mean, I guess the lines he delivers are pretty solid, like everything you need to know about him, like you do here. But
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of would have liked to have seen like a new adaptation of this 5 years ago when it wasn't so ramped with politics. Like imagine like with today's budgets and effects and actors, they could have made a pretty good like mini series for Demolition Man. Like going more into Edgar Friendly's story, like why he resisted. Maybe he was a high official, got tired of the corruption and went rogue. Instead, all we know is that he's a nobody that has initials EF and that he's a threat to society for some reason because he just happens to believe in free speech and eats rat burgers.
Taco Bell's glorious. I would never slander Taco Bell. I love it.
No, I'm not slandering Taco Bell. Those shits are great. It's just not worth it.
Cheesy gordita crunch.
Crunch wrap, my guy.
Yeah, buddy.
You went with the freaking hillbilly filter? It's like a mix of hillbilly and baby, the hill baby.
Oh, so weird. But this is me when I go into Taco Bell. Yeah.
The Shaq tacos. Yeah, no, when you're messing those camera effects, it's like I got a lot of Shag Toad content right there.
Nice.
I just gotta work on some of it. But yeah, another thing I thought was really messed up with that movie was they're talking about like the rehab programming. Mm-hmm. Like it was played for as a joke with Sylvester Stallone becoming a seamstress, but then they show how dangerous that can be. Where Phoenix has like access codes to all technology in the city, improved martial art training. I know kung fu, kind of stuff. He's like 3 times as strong as he used to be. All of a sudden,
yeah.
It's like so they gave him Sylvester Stallone steroid mix for a few weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
Like basically, like that's scary. That they like you are in an ice cube. You can think and feel the entire time.
Yeah,
as you're watching time go by without you, and they're pumping stuff into your brain.
Yeah, they glanced over. At one point, they talk about, or they're at dinner, they're eating their cheesy gordita crunches, and they're he says like I had like 36 years of nightmares of like my wife and whatever dying and blah blah blah.
And 5 minutes later, he's over it.
Well, not just that, but like Sandra Bullock is like, wait, you said that no one can feel, like they're totally like vegetables and whatever. I wish they had leaned on that a little more. Again, maybe a remake that was in a more serious tone might focus on that aspect of it. Cause like sort of like deprogramming her away from like all of the society. Cause she's already on the fence cause she's obsessed with like 90s tech or, 90s culture.
Essentially.
Yeah. But but she still is all weird and uses their language. But that would have been an interesting thing. Cause they sort of glance over it. That and the daughter, I thought, because the daughter could technically still be alive, but they don't.
Yeah, I think she's in her 30s technically in this series.
Yeah, they don't. I thought that they were going to answer that by the end, and they never did, and I was really bummed about that.
It's like once again, like it feels like they had ideas for a potential sequel, maybe but it just never happened. Because like I could totally see a sequel, like there's some of those criminals got away and they're running a new empire in Los Angeles again, and he has to like seek out his family maybe to protect them because they're going after his daughter. I could totally see that happening.
Yeah,
but like once again, I really wish they did like a mini series where they answer some of these questions.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think it's too late now.
Yeah, no, God, no.
You would need to
Absolutely
wait
not.
for you would need to wait for Hollywood to turn the corner again before you wish something like that, because they'll just ruin it. They'll twist the politics back around the other way, and
Where the police state's a good thing.
right. And like this is one of those movies where if they were planning a sequel, I'm glad they forgot about it or just nixed it, because this is like, you look at movies like this and you don't need extra. You don't need any more. There's no need. The story is done. It's complete. Let it rest. There's no reason to bring up John Spartan again. Just let him die. Or not let him die, but
let him bone a 20-something Sandra Bullock when he's in his like 40s.
I was thinking that too. I'm like, wait, how old is Sandra Bullock here? This is pretty young.
Like, she has to be like a barely legal teen here, guys. I'm not comfortable. He's technically 74 years old.
Yeah.
Like, this feels like when Steve Rogers was going after the like niece of his old lover.
Right. Yeah.
Like, isn't that like kind of creepy? But then you find out your older version married your crush. So like, isn't she technically your niece too?
Yep.
Answer that, Marvel.
Trace said Hollywood would make this where the technocrats were the heroes. Yes, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely they would.
Yeah.
Where it turns out like Edgar Friendly is just an ironic name and he's like a Nazi or something.
Yeah.
Or better yet, they'll spray paint him orange so he's Trump.
Cops are bad, yet militarized police state is good. Contradictory politics much. Yep.
Yeah. Yes.
Agree. It's too much sometimes to sift through the bullshit of these hypocritical leftists. It's weird.
Yeah. But on a lighter tone, I think another favorite line of mine was when they bring up the Schwarzenegger Presidential Library.
Oh, that was a good. I like that.
That was really funny. It's like, even though he wasn't born in this country, his popularity made them make the 61st Amendment to allow him to become president.
Yeah.
Like, is it sad that I could see that happening? I could totally see that happening.
Well, I mean, it obviously. Oh, excuse me. It obviously didn't happen the way they do it in the movie, but this was way before he was governor of California.
Yeah.
So
you don't have to be born in America to be a governor or mayor. You just have to be born to be a president, I believe.
Right. You can be a senator. You could be you could be in Congress. I think you could be on the Supreme Court or whatever, but you cannot be
in the Oval Office.
Which is bizarre because arguably you have more power in Congress than you do in the Oval Office. I still believe that the Oval Office is just essentially you're like the mascot of the.
Oh, so you mean like the current like kings and queens of England?
Yeah.
You're the mantle head. You're the
right.
You're the figurehead of the ship.
Exactly.
You look pretty and everything, but you don't control jack shit.
Couple new peeps in chat. Oh, what's up, Rock? Rock's never seen it. Oh man, you got to see it. Real Wade Nation, welcome back. The curse scene. Sorry. Oh yeah, where he's just like going off on the curses to get the tickets to wipe his ass.
Yeah, no, that's one of my favorite scenes.
Codenomics, what's up, man? He's over on Twitch. Was at the FNT Takes Dallas meetup last night. Saw some awesome pictures there, making me want to get out there ASAP.
Yeah. Another really funny scene for me was after the whole like sex letdown scene, where he goes like, "Have you guys ever done it like first person, like physical contact and fluid transfer? Ew."
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's like, "You call it sex?" And he's like, "Yeah, boning, the Santa Maria, the honka chonka."
Yeah, oh yeah, those again. That was like one of those like moments where, like they wanted Stallone to be the one-liner guy, but he just I don't know what it is. He doesn't have the charisma for him. I
don't think he has like the lisp for it.
Yeah, it was just it was a little cringe at times. Yeah, it was a little cringe at times.
Yeah, I still love the honka chonka the way he said it, man.
Oh, I know. It's and that's what I mean. Like that would have sounded better coming from anyone else.
The honka chonka. I can't. I didn't do a good Arnie. If I could do a really good Arnie, it'd be freaking hilarious. It's Honka Chonka.
I was gonna say something. I totally forgot what it
Sorry.
was. Yeah,
The Honka
Codenomics.
Chonka.
I'm on YouTube 2 nights a week. We do a Wednesday show and we do this Friday show. Friday we kind of do more like movies, comics, poppy stuff, and then Wednesday we talk culture, politics, and all that stuff. So
there's supposed to be 2 other people here, but they didn't show up. One of them has a good reason. The other one hasn't responded at all.
Yeah. Well, they both have good reasons. But
I didn't hear anything from Sticks. I didn't know.
Seth Trollins has never seen this either. I take it it's a movie, a product of its time. Yes. I mean, the like production value is certainly a 90s film. The writing is pretty good.
Good for a 90s film. It's good production value for a 90s film.
It is. There's a couple sus moments that are like, ugh. But again,
there was a couple like Chinese jokes that Simon Phoenix said. Like he's in the office and he mocks the Chinese folks in the background a little bit.
Oh yeah, for like no reason. He's like ting tong tong ting. I'm like, what the fuck was that?
And Twitch, clip that, please.
No, nope, don't clip anything. What is up with Demolition Man? I got hit with a copyright strike today from some UK rapper from a Demolition Man clip I posted in 2019. Really?
Well, you can just demolish his career there. There you go.
That's bizarre.
Yeah, I like that one scene. I was like, it's not even funny. Like,
right, it was
random.
Yeah, it was very random. I mean, maybe it was to illustrate like what a piece of shit he was.
I mean, he killed like 3 people. If you're not convinced he's a piece of shit, something will be wrong with you.
Yeah, no, it seemed a little out of place for sure. But again, 90s. But it's still good. Like Charles, the overall message of this is sort of like relatable to today. Again, we've said a couple of times like how they speak, like the sterilization of language, and like essentially removing anything.
People.
Well, yeah, and taking away things that are quote unquote harmful, harmful speech, harmful innuendo, anything like that, like is totally gutted from language, and it becomes off as more robotic and or even alien, like you said, zombie. And it
sounds like an alien trying to be a human. It's
right.
Like sometimes they talk like, be well, mellow morning. What?
Hey, I say be well to people.
Like that. Well, the way they said it was so sterilized. It was so detached.
The other thing that reminded me of Fifth Element was like the weird like handshake thing they did. I don't know. It just seemed very in that universe.
Or then when Sylvester Stallone gets out of the bathroom, he high fives and like does like the cool like gangster handshake with the guy. He's like, "You germs."
Yeah. Oh yeah. Codenomics. It was funny because of his character, not because of what he said. Yeah. No. That's what I think is like they're going for like this is just who this character is. Did you notice? And this is, I don't know if it was, maybe it was like an editing thing. Like they had maybe like mirrored or flipped the film at some point. But Wesley Snipes' eye.
Yeah, he has one blue eye.
Yeah, but it shifts. Like sometimes it's on the left, sometimes it's on the right. There's a couple scenes where I'm like, okay, the blue eye is on his right side right now. And then a couple minutes later, I was like, wait a minute. Because I thought both of his eyes were blue. And then all of a sudden, one is yellow. Blue. Yeah, and it swapped around. And I don't know if that was intentional or if it was like one of those things. I know some directors will just do shit to do it. I'm
betting one of his colored contacts kept popping out and he kind of forgetting to replace it.
Yeah, but no, I don't think so.
I mean, you look at Blade 3 where they had to CGI his eyes in because he refused to open them on the table.
Yeah. Well, Codomic says, to this day, I still tell people enhance your calm, John Spartan, when people are upset. No one ever gets the reference.
I love that. When he starts freezing, like, I'm going to enhance your calm.
Yeah.
It's like, that actually sounds like a genuine threat. I love it.
Yeah, it's definitely it's one of those movies that on screen I don't think it's aged well at all. But the message is it's just too close to the world we live in.
Yeah, the virtual effects are not great. when he
No.
like electrifies the water. It's like that's some Scooby Doo like 1990 shit, man.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
when he freezes him too.
yep.
Like wow. Spoiler for a movie that came out back in like 1993. Phoenix dies at the end. I know,
Horrible.
shocking.
Yeah, a horrible death.
Yeah, he gets frozen and then his head gets kicked off like a soccer ball. Chill out, Phoenix.
The rant in the sewer. What rant was the rant in the sewers? Which one?
Where he says, I want to cover myself in jello.
Oh yeah.
That was a great speech. Like that is America.
Yeah, and it's all normal people want. And like when I heard him say that, because I think it was a couple of weeks ago when we had first mentioned this, and I saw a clip on YouTube about like of that speech, and I was like, oh, this is like everything any normal person just wants. Like we're not going to go do it, but it would just be nice to if I wanted to. And
like,
it's
the more
just
you tell me I can't, I want to do it more. That's America.
Yeah. Yeah, Seth, you should definitely check it out. You probably wouldn't watch it more than once, maybe at this point, but
I've watched it twice in my life, and I think that's the most I'll ever watch it. I might bring it every now and then with like friends who haven't watched it. And that's about it.
Yeah, and it's good. It's good for what it is. But it you keep your expectations at the right level, and you'll be fine.
If you keep in mind that it's made in the early '90s, you won't be disappointed.
Yep.
But Conomics, during that rant, you pay attention to the background, you'll see Jack Black. He's actually in that movie. He's just an extra at the time, but I found that out today. I'm still kind of running off that high.
Jesse Ventura's in it too.
I don't know who that is.
Jesse the Body Ventura. He's like a big conspiracy theorist now. Like he was the governor of Montana for a bit, and then he went full tinfoil hat. But he's not stupid or anything. He's definitely like he's one of those like Alex Jones kind of guys.
I watched a clip of like young Alex Jones, and it's like he sounds much different. Like his voice like changed, like it got so much rougher when he got older.
Oh yeah,
because like I saw a clip. He's asking George Senior, so he's asking George Bush Jr. a question about some stuff.
Oh,
and he's getting escorted out and basically thrown in jail for asking that question.
Oh, Minnesota, he was the governor of. Sorry.
But yeah, you could see where Jones started.
Yeah, well, Jones was a legit reporter for many years.
Yeah, you've probably seen like too many things.
Well, yeah, he was one of those guys that like did his homework and really researched the stuff he was talking about. And I think through like drugs and alcohol, it got a little crazy and it sort of damaged him a little bit. But the problem with Jones is he goes from one side to the other really fast, and he's right a lot. But because he jumps to the other side so fast with the tinfoil hat,
people are quick to
they don't take him seriously. And then he says some shit like the Sandy Hook stuff. So like no one wants to take him seriously.
Yeah.
Follow me in Grove. Yeah.
Turn the friggin' frogs, gang. I actually have like 2 sound alerts of Alex Jones, and they're my favorite sound alerts ever.
Jesse Ventura is Alex Jones if he took too many steroids. Exactly. It's exactly the best way to describe
it.
him.
If Alex Jones got buff, no one would mess with him.
Yeah.
Like he could totally bulk up still, and he'd be terrifying.
I would mess with him anyway. A guy like that knows how to get rid of a body for sure.
Oh, all the stuff he knows.
Huh?
He probably eats some of it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't put anything past him.
It's how I stay safe from the clockwork elves. I eat part of the body.
Yeah, dude. Like he's nuts. I bet he's the nicest guy in the world, though. I'm sure he's just. I would
love to hang out and have a beer with him. I'm just scared to ask him.
Yeah, I'm afraid to eat him.
I'm afraid I become his beer. Use my skull as the cup.
So apparently, according to Codenomics, my name got brought up at the FNT meetup in was it Dallas? And I was like, because he thought I was there. Codenomics messaged me. He's like, dude, are you here? He's like, I thought you were here, but they were talking about your beard. And I'm like, wow, that must be. I'm really glad that my name's getting thrown around in some of these circles. It feels good.
Oh my god! Last night, one of my buddies was asking me if I could invite him into my like streaming community. It's like I'm just on a Discord or two, man. I could just invite you to that.
Right.
Yeah, like he thought it was like this big like streaming community. It's like not to shit on the streaming community that I'm a part of, quote unquote.
Oh, not Kodogs, not you, just your beard. Hey, man, it's close enough. All right.
Hey,
The fact that my beard
associated with it,
right? Like the fact that my beard was talked about in that area is a true. It truly is a blessing. I'm flattered that it came up. And because you didn't bring it up,
you're a
he
package
didn't bring
deal,
it.
my guy.
If you think the establishment wouldn't do that, you're delusional. Wait, what are we talking about?
Do what?
To be fair, I can't blame him on the hook stuff. I mean, did you guys see how quickly Las Vegas was memory hold?
Oh, are you talking about the shooter that was in the hotel and people pointing out there's helicopters going on? Yep. There's multiple shooters. That's a conspiracy theory for sure.
Oh yeah.
Am I disavowing it? No. Am I agreeing with it? I don't know. I'm too scared to say yes or no to these questions.
Well, it's just as like alarming and strange as like the JFK stuff. Like there's so many different things that people think happened, and some people articulate it really well, and you're just like, oh fuck, like was there multiple people? Like, is this possible? But then I think there's a lot of flat earthers out there who are like they're articulate enough.
But they're stupid.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, like what the fuck, like
you're making a good argument, but I know you're wrong.
Yeah.
Or I mean, watch some of the flat earth documentaries on Netflix, which I mean, you're gonna have to sit through like an hour of shit. But at the end, the guys prove themselves wrong, and they just like look at the camera like, cut the film.
Right, cut the film. Stop.
Because like they do like the light through a hole experiment to prove the curvature of the Earth is not real. So like you would see the hole straight, you see the light through a series of holes.
Yeah.
But then they show them doing this, and they just prove the curve of the Earth is real.
Yeah. Yeah. Flurfer documentaries are hilarious. I'm going to use it. Flurfer, is that Flat Earther?
Flat Earther. Flurfer.
That one with the laser in the boat. Yeah.
Yeah, that too, man.
Oars and Shags do have great beards. True. We do.
Bro, you should like rub your beards together.
Do you? Okay. Was there? I don't want to get too far away from Demolition Man.
Right. One of the last things I had was they were talking a bit more about what was illegal. And they're saying like, oh, abortions are illegal, and so was having kids unless you have a license.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, so you mean like China?
Yep.
Where they have the one kid rule, and if you have too many, you gotta go drown them in a freaking river.
Well, you know that they're doing that now. Like that's the other thing that's like similar to like what we're going through is that there's people talking about how having kids, like people should stop having kids because the population's getting out of control when
it's not.
We've been on the decline. People are having less kids, not
we're
more
actually,
kids.
I think we're below the replacement numbers that we need to replace the current population.
Yeah. It's bizarre.
So like, yeah, it's like, it's almost like they're full of shit. Anyways, but then later on, after the Hunka Chunka talk, they're talking about like, well, how do you have kids? Oh, we go to a facility, give them our fluids, and then they make a test tube baby.
Yeah.
It's like that's
that's
messed up.
Yeah. It is. But at the time, I believe in 93 that was still going in China, if I remember correctly. Population is on the decline. Demolition plus idiocracy equals America circa 2026. Yep.
Yeah, I could see it. And that
can confirm.
Me. And what sucks is I'm going to be alive during that.
Mm-hmm. But we can change it. If you gotta listen to people like us. We can change it. We talking about this stuff and warning people and just being like it's one of those things that we're going to change, but it's going to be slow. Our kids will benefit from the stuff that we do right now. I'm already seeing how important it is to like just act good around your kids because they will mimic your every move. If you're a piece of shit in real life, and you talk shitty to people, your kids will do that. I was at a pool the other day, or it wasn't a pool, it was like a water park at this amusement park near us.
Yeah.
This guy was swearing in the middle of a pool, like there's like a bunch of adults and people, and the girl was scared. And he's like, "What the fuck is your fucking problem? Like, you fucking scared? Why are you scared? Why do you come here?" And like he's screaming at her as if he's like arguing with like an adult. And then they end up having like a towel near us, and he was still going at it like 10, 15 minutes later. He's still sitting down yelling at his kid, like among a bunch of other people. But like, you know, it's this girl, and then I think they had 2 siblings. It was so bad. Like, you talk to your kids like that, they're gonna start talking to other people like that, and they're gonna start acting like that towards you.
Like that.
Yep.
That kid's gonna have no respect for their parents or anyone of authority if that's all they're gonna think about. Is like, this person's gonna be a piece of shit to me, so I'm gonna be a piece of shit first.
Yeah, it's not good. And then kids get confused when you tell them, no, don't act like that. They're like, well, you act like this. Why can't I act like that? And that's
do I have stories of that? My mom says, "We don't swear in this house." Then screams "fuck" at my dad.
Yeah, gotta learn how to use the 3 seashells after drinking too much Pronto.
I kind of want them to try to explain how to use the 3 seashells, because like I do not see how that would work out.
Yeah, I was trying to think.
I mean, I'm glad they showed them. It's like they're actually like made out of metal, so I'm guessing you clean them afterwards.
I would imagine.
It's like, you get 3 swipes. Good luck, bud.
Right. Well, I think it would be good, like when you think about like the edge of the shell, if it's like mimicking a real shell, like you can use it to sort of scrape. I mean, you got to be careful of the balloon knot, right? You know, you're careful of that thing, but like you don't want to like the edges. Knot. Oh no, dude! Holy shit!
I mean, they probably have it sharpened enough where it shaves back there too.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's like the what's the thing called? Maybe like it's kind of like a bidet, but it's like a power washer, so it gets rid of everything. Like, you know,
you put the pressure up too much, it's going through my ass.
Yeah, the writers came out and there is no explanation, and that was the point. That's the best part, man. That's the best part. And this goes to say, like, in storytelling, you don't need to explain everything. Like,
just
there's a fine line. Yeah, there's a fine line that you have to like learn to walk. You don't always need to explain like every detail of something. Let the reader fill in some of the gaps. Like, that's why we don't need all these Star Wars stories. I could use my imagination of what might be happening. I don't need everything explained in between all these movies. Like, please, at some point we gotta stop. It's just overload.
So I sent you that link to those issues of Star Wars Legacy. There's one issue that deals with 4 stormtroopers, and that is it. It just talks about them dealing with all the shit going on in this main story.
That's pretty cool.
I wanted more of them.
Yeah.
Because it's like, these are just normal people who have guns and a few explosives going up against other people with guns and explosives and maybe an occasional lightsaber.
Yeah.
Like, they have their this is why I said like my favorite characters have always been like the soldiers in sci-fi.
Yeah.
Because they don't got the space magic or the space laser swords. They have their training, guns, and maybe some luck. Yeah.
Well, it's like, a story like that intrigues me because, like, in the same way that a game like Darkest Dungeon intrigues me, because it's a story about like people going into a place and involved in things and the repercussions of it. Yeah, they're not prepared for it. And it's not just like, oh, you get to reap the rewards even though it was hard. It's like, no, there's lasting effects of these things. And
that's like PTSD and shit.
Yeah, and they don't tell stories like that, and it's annoying. Like, that's why when it comes to the modern Star Wars stuff, especially with Kenobi, like, there's a good story that could be told about Reva, but they refuse to do it right. Instead, it's the intersectionality of it. It has nothing to do with her actual trauma. They don't focus on any of it. You don't see the despair in her eyes. You don't see her pain at all. You just see this child who's like,
you just see Darth Tantrum.
Yeah, Darth Tantrum, exactly.
You ever seen that movie The Losers? It has Chris Evans in it. It's and the guy who plays,
I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it.
It's basically like these generic soldier guys who got axed by their government trying to survive. Anyways, I would have loved to see a Star Wars version of The Losers with like a regiment of abandoned stormtroopers out in the middle of fucking nowhere in space.
That would be it. That'd be pretty cool.
Deals nothing with the main line of Star Wars. That's the great thing about Star Wars' universe. It's a universe big enough to have these side stories that can have absolutely no connection to the main story and still fit.
Yeah. Well, it's Taika Waititi is supposed to be doing a Star Wars project that is outside of the established lore and canon. So
he'll be Star Wars Thor trying to find himself.
Well, like I don't think his style fits the tone of Star Wars. I think you'd have to change it up.
He's very zany, like zany comedy.
Right, and I think he needs to reel that in order to really because I don't necessarily want like a Star Wars like half comedy, half sci-fi. I want something that feels like they've always had like weird humor in Star Wars, but
like
not to the degree they're
Star
doing now.
Wars ones. Like the original 3 had some random bits here and there that make you smile, like they don't make you guffaw out in laughter. Yeah. The newest trilogy tried too hard to mimic the Marvel style of humor, where it's a serious moment and they throw in a gag at inappropriate times.
Yeah. It's just been overdone. That's why it sucks now.
It's so overdone. I hate it. It's like, that's why whenever I see the new Marvel project, it's like, oh, great. I can't wait for them to throw in a really bad gag when it's a really serious character moment.
Yeah.
Dude, if Sam Raimi, what I would love to see is Sam Raimi do a Death Troopers movie.
Ooh, yeah, that would be cool. That'd be really cool.
Okay, so do you know the Death Troopers I'm talking about?
Probably not.
So there are there are now 2 Death Troopers. There's the ones from Rogue One, which are the Commandos.
Yeah.
Before them, there was Death Troopers, which is like a zombie stormtrooper, essentially. Okay. If you look up Death Troopers trailer, they made a live action trailer for the book.
Oh.
And it's like a minute and a half long. It scared me as a child. Because I just found it on YouTube, and you see like a zombified stormtrooper looking out into space as a spaceship is getting pulled into their ship.
Yeah.
And you turn and you see like his gore-stricken face. It's like, I love how people say Star Wars is for kids, and then they made this zombie apocalypse Star Wars book. It's one of the best books from the EU. Like, I could probably send you a link to find it, Jags. It's so good. It is so good. It's a great 6-hour audiobook.
Oh, that's awesome.
If Sam Raimi adapted that, it would be fucking fantastic.
Or it could be total shit. We don't know.
I mean, he could just make it into Evil Dead 3.
Yeah.
And I would still love it. Because, I mean, Starship Troopers has nothing to do with the book, essentially, except, like, the main setting. Right. And I still love that movie.
Yeah. Are we done with Demolition Man? Did we cover everything?
I got everything I marked except like the implanted chips thing, but you kind of already talked about that. Right. Where like they have like the chips that track you down. It's like, oh, the kind of thing we were worried about them doing today lately.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just, I mean, they do it kind of anyway with like, your cell phone can track you just about anywhere.
No, my local NSA agent probably watching me through my camera right now on my computer. Hi, Mark.
Right.
Hi, Mark.
I'm just over here waiting for Spaceballs 2, the search for more money. Yeah. I thought they had talked about them actually doing it.
They did, but they made like no money from the first one, so there wasn't like the studio didn't have any confidence in the sequel.
I feel like it's just totally different now. I mean, is Mel Brooks still alive?
He's alive, but he's like insane. Also, hello, Herbs.
Right. I've said my piece on Demolition Man. I think everyone should see it. I give it like 7.5 out of 10, 7.5 stars out of 10. Mainly for there's some good action in it. There's some interesting moments, but like how it sort of in 93 predict like what will actually happen. It's really good. There's some good writing in this movie for sure, but not a perfect movie by any stretch.
Like, I would give it like an 8.5, honestly, because just like of the hints at better writing they could have had, like you're saying with him referencing his 36 years of watching his wife die in front of him, pretty much, his daughter growing up without him. Like, there's moments like he has trauma, but they make it a gag, or he learns to sew.
Yeah.
Or freaking God, I just like it has a lot of good ideas that they had to rush past because they only had like a 2 hour long movie runtime they could stick it in.
Right.
That's why I still wish they would have made a miniseries in like the early 2000s. Like if they made it before 2016, it would have been fantastic. Like anything after 2016, it could have been too woke.
Yeah. Yeah. It now.
Or too blunt.
Yeah. Now it won't. They'll twist everything.
Like how Spartan says, "Oh, I'll be subtle" when he's about to go accuse the guy of orchestrating everything, and he starts shooting all his computers.
Yeah.
Sandra Bullock's like, very subtle. Thank you. It's like that is exactly how they would handle it.
I take off points for Sandra Bullock. I'm not a huge Sandra Bullock fan.
She's fine in a few of her movies.
Yeah, this one just even as a love interest for Stallone at some level towards the end, like I don't think so.
She fit the role. It's like she played her role well as the on the fence. I don't agree with the current situation, but I also have to go along with it because it's all I know kind of character.
Yeah.
Who eventually she sees life from a different perspective of Sylvester Stallone's character, and she embraces it. Her buddy, her Alfredo friend, also takes a rock to the head, and he just switches sides to the scraps.
Yep.
All of a sudden, it's like, oh, okay, cool.
Right.
Like no character development, no hint at this beforehand. Just bonk. I am one of these guys now.
I did in transition to something that's even worse than this. This is pretty bad. I do want to talk about Kenobi for a little bit, even though you haven't watched it. But the 5th episode was kind of leads from the previous one of it just being total fucking garbage. I don't know how people defend this show on any level. I think people are defending the show based on its Easter eggs and like the little things it hints at. But that's about all that this show can do. There was probably 2 moments in episode 5 that were good. Like I didn't mind. Well, the sparring session that Obi-Wan and Anakin have during this is like flashbacks for Anakin, and
Hayden Christensen looked like a very old teen.
Right, they didn't even DH him, which was a bizarre choice. But also, it sort of breaks the narrative between, like, they make him out to be really hateful in essentially Attack of the Clones. Like, it takes place in that zone, and I just thought it was like, this isn't how he acted. Like, he acted more like this in the 3rd one. Like, he was certainly conflicted, I think, in the 2nd one, but not to this extent.
I mean, if this took place after his mom died, I could see that happening. But from the looks of it, I'm assuming this is not taking place after that.
No. Kenobi is not good. No, it's not. It's objectively very bad. In the criticism the critics are drawing from it are totally baseless. Like, again, it's bad writing and it's bad acting. Ewan McGregor's doing fine. He's given a shit script and he does what he can with it. Moses Ingram is just an awful actress. She's not meant to play this role. It should have gone to someone else. Again, she comes off as a petulant child. She doesn't come off as anyone who has, like, they haven't illustrated her real pain. And again, character building can be done in a short amount of time, but they have done such a bad job with, her first, like in the very beginning, you see her escaping Order 66. But even that, like, people are getting, it's I guess implied that she may have gotten hit with a lightsaber as a kid and survives. At the end of the episode, she gets run through with a lightsaber as well, and she apparently survives. Apparently, the Grand Inquisitor can take a lightsaber
to the gut, man.
But not Qui-Gon. We got to kill off Qui-Gon with the gut one.
I got a whole thing about that scene in episode 1, like what makes it more impactful. If you want to hear that.
Yeah, hold on. There's a couple things that check here. Sure. Why is it young Anakin old? Well, I mean, Hayden Christensen's like 40 years old now, so
he doesn't look bad for a 40-year-old dude.
No, he doesn't. But you can definitely see that he's old.
Yeah, you can see the age.
Yeah, and Moses' character is not likable at all. And yeah, you don't even like feel bad for her. You don't feel anything for her, unfortunately. And Leia, unfortunately, is insufferable. Like her, she has such a big role in this. It makes me wonder, like, how did she forget it all?
Like, if they made the show Leia, they should have just done that instead of this.
Yeah. Disney Star Wars logic dictates that Anakin always looked old. Even 10-year-old Anakin in Phantom Menace looked 40. Okay, sorry. What were you going to say about?
So you know how that song, the music during that fight with Darth Maul and Qui-Gon just called "Duel of the Fates."
The Duel of Fates, yeah.
It was Duel of the Fate of Anakin, because if Qui-Gon survived, he would have been the father figure that Anakin needed to stay on the light side.
True.
But instead, the Sith won that fight overall.
Yeah.
And therefore, he had an inexperienced teacher with Obi-Wan who didn't want to teach him in the first place. But eventually they become friends later on. But there's always that constant rift between the characters throughout a lot of the stories.
Yeah. So that makes it a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, like someone explained this way better than I am, but I really I never even thought about that. It's like, damn, that makes sense. Damn it, Lucas.
So let me show you, let me illustrate to you how far this show deviates from any sort of logic. We all know that stormtroopers are bad at shooting. At this point, I think they just it's built into even the scenes that they shoot. In this episode, before I get to that, so they track Obi-Wan back to essentially this rebel base, we'll say. And it's where they're hiding some Jedi. It's part of the path that they use to get Jedi free. And they track them there. Vader makes her the Grand Inquisitor, and they land on this planet. Everyone's hiding. They bring this giant laser gun out. And I'm not kidding. Reva screams out, "Light them up!" Light them up, she says. And
like a true gangsta.
Oh, dude, it's so bad. But so we know stormtroopers are bad at shooting. They're going into they're pushing into this complex. Tala and that robot weirdo thing are shooting back and fighting back, but no one is ducking behind cover. Everyone's standing in the middle of this hallway, shooting back and forth with the stormtroopers. And of course, and then she does this you got me. It's well, no shit. You're standing in the middle of the room.
That was better acting than Reva.
Right. And then they try and make you feel anything for her. I don't care about Tala. They don't do any sort of character building. Then they do the sad music when the robot gets shot up and he, falls. And who cares? Who cares about these characters?
No one cares. Had more empathy from me.
Yeah, it was 6. Yeah, no, but that's the thing. They actually did some character building with him. You actually cared when he has the thumb up and shoots off into space.
Or the robot from Rogue One.
Yeah,
he was awesome.
You don't care about these characters at all. They make you care, or they try and force you into an emotional moment, and
you're a racist if you don't care.
And then so and it gets worse, if you can imagine. Obi-Wan turns himself in to Reva because he's caught on to the fact that she is a youngling who survived Order 66, and she's hateful towards Anakin. That's why she knows it's Anakin, and she's going to use it to get back at him. So he discovers this. He turns himself into her, and they're talking about this plan. Obi-Wan's trying to convince her to help him amidst 20 fucking stormtroopers. Anyone could, they're whispering, but you could definitely we're meant to believe that no one can hear this at all.
Sounds like they whisper how my sister whispers. Hey, you want to team up and kill all these guys? Yeah, I sure do. Let's take them by surprise, bro. We all can hear you.
Yeah, it's not like that she takes Obi-Wan into another room and they're talking privately and he's trying to convince her while whispering. No, they're standing in front of this giant room, stormtroopers everywhere around them, and he's having a conversation about how he should help her or how she should help him. And
he needs a strong, independent woman.
Right. And so now arrives Darth Vader, and he's walking in fucking gangbusters. A ship is taken off to retreat. He stops the ship with his force power. Never has he done anything like that. So now we're meant to believe that the ship's taken off and he's going to, take back Obi-Wan. No. Why didn't he do that in A New Hope or at the end of Rogue One? Why didn't he stop the ship with his force powers? Like, don't get me wrong, it was a badass moment, but like, talk about breaking canon, like across multiple movies.
It's like it could have made sense if they had shown it in a later property, but they don't. I mean, granted, they couldn't back then with like that kind of budget, but still. And technically, it has happened before in Star Wars history with Starkiller. In the first game, he rips a Star Destroyer, a giant ass Star Destroyer, out of the sky.
Yeah.
Granted, he was technically more powerful in the Force than Vader, which people can claim that Starkiller was like a a Gary Stu kind of character because he was super powerful in the Force. Like, no, first off, he was on the constant run from Vader because he wanted him killed.
Right.
No one liked him upon first meeting him, and he didn't learn the Jedi powers immediately. Yep. He had to train under threat of death, and that's why he was able to rip a Star Destroyer out of the goddamn sky.
Yeah. Like, again, it's a badass moment.
Yeah, I saw the clip, and that looks cool.
Yeah, and it, and he like rips the side of the thing off when he puts it back on the ground, and then it's used as a diversion for the actual ship to escape. And amid all this, Reva, quote unquote, sneaks up behind him and does the slowest surprise attack I've ever seen in my life.
Hey, Vader, don't turn around. I'm attacking you.
Well, it's like one of those things where like she's there and we see her, he doesn't. And like the lightsaber goes on, and then instead of doing like a thrust, like, quick thrust attack, she like turns it on, waits a second, then the slowest over the head, like sloppy, like LARPer attack on him. And it was, so this is like the best part of it was Vader doesn't even draw his lightsaber against her at first. I don't think he draws his saber at all. He basically like stops her like every attack with his force power and like just brushes her away, spins her around. And that was cool. I mean, he's certainly a very rageful person at this point. He's still young, quote unquote. But
he's still burned.
He makes a mockery of her, but the choreography is still sloppy and weird. And one thing I'll say about this episode, I think this was the episode that they used to justify the quote from A New Hope. When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master. So the flashback scene was meant to illustrate that Anakin was not ready to take on also the role of being a leader or a master. And even in this episode, his rage and need to capture Obi-Wan like blinds him in a way. And I don't know if that will carry over into the next episode, because again, Luke and no one can come in contact with, like, none of the Imperials can come in contact with Luke at this point.
Or else that would ruin the entire
it would just totally
story.
ruin it. Right. So that's how I think they sort of justify that quote. And I'm sure you'll see the stands come out and say something similar to that. That's what I thought.
Or it's like a screenshot of this one random ass scene, like, oh, the choreography, oh, the cinematography, it makes up for all of it.
Right. And like that's what bothers me the most. Like, okay, I can get on board with some of the cinematography being good and whatnot. It doesn't take away from the garbage writing. And that's why, like, I feel bad saying like Demolition Man's like good in some ways, because if I were being honest, I could probably rip it to shreds in most aspects.
Oh, for sure.
But like, again, but the writing itself is still better than Demolition Man.
Like they still waste, like, even though Demolition Man wastes a lot of opportunities to talk about some of those things, they still do better than from what I've seen, the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan, I refuse to watch this show. Like, if when it's all fully out, I might, if I have nothing else to do, like shoot myself. But we'll see what happens. And I just wanted to go off this really quick for people who are saying like, "Oh, you still like it because Moses Ingram's black." It's like, okay, so you're saying So remember when in Mandalorian, when what was his face, Carl Weathers voiced Grief Karga, and the sheer amount of racism he got? Oh wait, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Or when Giancarlo Esposito played Moff Gideon, and he got so much racist backlash. Oh wait, that didn't happen.
Right.
Like, it's almost like it doesn't matter what your skin color is. If you're not a good actor, we're gonna call your shit out.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. Her character, top to bottom, like is written poorly. Is like makeup's poor, hair is poor. Like again, for the character,
Star Wars. That is not a Star Wars hairdo.
Yeah, and not just that. It's
not a Sith hairdo.
Well, yeah, this person. So even if you want to make the argument that she's undercover, it's a shit cover. Like I see no pain in her. She says she's in pain, but like, what?
She's undercover? What?
Well, she's been playing a game essentially to get close to Anakin or to get close to Darth Vader to kill him. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, well, that's how. So it seems like the leaks are true. It seems like the leaks are true about what's happening. She's gonna
find Luke, and sacrifice herself to save him.
Under the cover, Sith.
Under the cover.
You just hate her because she's black. Yes, exactly.
Under the cover, Sith. Talk about Force choke.
I hate all characters who are shitty actors. Like even Stallone to some degree is insufferable to watch sometimes because he's not a great actor. He plays the same fucking brutish idiot in everything. I mean, he's essentially Rocky Balboa, Demolition Man, with a little bit more of an intellect. But it's certainly like he's more believable than Ingram. Like, don't you badmouth Sly? Sorry, I have to.
I love there was the one part in Demolition Man where he's saying like violence is not good. This is not a good thing after he's beaten the crap out of like 20 dudes.
Yeah.
And he's like, they're just looking for something to eat. It's like, my brother in Christ, you beat the shit out of them.
Exactly.
You were the one who did the violence.
Rocky does Rambo 100% right. Well, that's what I mean. Like his characters Stallone does not have range. Like he doesn't have range.
Him and Arnie definitely they do better with the less dialogue they have.
Right. I mean, they're imposing figures and they play, again, testosterone junkie like action flicks. They're great because they are that.
Like even Arnie in T2 where he's a robot learning to emote. He does that great because of his stilted acting.
Yep. Kodama said it better. They cast him in roles that he works in. You don't hire Stallone to be the lead in The Notebook. Exactly.
I would have loved to see that. I would have paid to watch that movie with Stallone in the lead.
The unfortunate thing about Moses Ingram is that she was in The Queen's Gambit.
Never watched that.
It's a really good show. You should watch it. Man, what are you talking about? It's a great fucking series. She plays Anna Taylor-Joy's childhood friend from the orphanage, and even in that she was bad. Like she was like, I didn't care for her character. I didn't like she didn't have any sort of presence in the show. Like I guess the role she played was probably just who she is as a person. But she certainly wasn't there was no, like, I don't know, like it wasn't anything great. There was nothing noteworthy.
It's just something we brought up earlier talking about the boys, everything. Homelander is an awful human being, but he's still sympathetic and empathetic as a villain more than Reva.
Oh, yeah.
And Homelander has done worse things than Reva will ever do in her life.
Well, the character building is there. You understand his pain because he was, I mean, not only were these kids experimented on, but then he was kept inside of like, a lab for his whole life. And his only father figure was, even he admitted, was just an awful person to him. And you see that's that's the kind of man he became, and that's how he treats everyone else. He treats everyone else as expendable lab experiments for his own ends.
By the way, the comic version has none of that writing. He's just an asshole.
Right, and like
and that's where I think the show has done better.
Yeah. And same thing with Butcher. Butcher is another character who you understand his pain. It makes sense and people can identify with it. You know, they can understand, like, I mean, people have, you know, wives leave their husbands all the time. They have affairs, you know, kids by other, not all the time, but it happens. But you understand the pain that's associated with that and his motivation.
I don't condone it, but I understand.
And the struggle of being just a man going up against Superman. Holy shit. Like, that's powerful stuff, like, man.
Literally, he could just step outside and get destroyed from a distance and not see it coming.
Code's on a roll tonight. I never thought a writer would make me hate a character more than Joffrey. Homelander enters stage left. Oh yeah. Again, this is the actor brings so much to this role. What's his name? Anthony Stone or something. I forget his name.
I think so. Let me pull him up here. But he voices Homelander in the animated series, and he plays it perfect.
Good. Oh yeah, he is solid, spot on.
He is intimidating for sure. Or like when they were with him and what's the Queen Nirvana, I think Maeve. That they're having an argument while the shooter is trying to shoot them.
Yeah,
and they're just toying with the shooter while they basically tear him apart. It's like
Anthony Starr.
Anthony Starr. That's
his name. Yeah.
But like when they were like tearing the guy apart while they're having like an argument about it, it's like, damn, that was good. That was intimidating as hell. All hell.
Oh yeah.
Because like Anthony Starr looked like he was getting off to how he was ripping the shooter apart.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's again that shows his range as a person, and I believe he's like New Zealand or he's got an accent, and he can put on the American accent. Yeah, he put on the accent really, really well. Watching the boys through, I actually get nervous for other characters when Homelander gets mad. I actually get invested. God, yeah. Oh yeah, because he's so unhinged. Like he's a time bomb, and you don't know.
No one's safe in that show. No one is safe.
No,
anyone could die at any moment.
It's yeah, man. It's such a bizarre. It's so cool to see. Like really well written shows, and it bothers the shit out of me that that season 3 has been as woke as it is, because it's still an engaging story and I still care, especially now that the fuck is it, Soldier Boy is in it. What the hell is that actor's name?
I can't remember. He plays Dean in Supernatural.
That's right, he's from Supernatural, and he's so good in this role. He hasn't said much yet, but his
Jensen
presence,
Ackles is his name.
Yep. But his presence on camera and in the scenes are like, again, you see this pain in him from his past and being experimented on, and his former team essentially like abandoning him. It's so good, and you don't get that sort of character investment in a lot of films nowadays. Everyone's just there. They just seem to be kind of milling about.
Man, I plan on watching season 3. I just gotta find a way to do it without giving Amazon more $15 a month money.
Yeah, I mean, sailing the high seas if you got to. It's, it is what it is. We
don't condone it. We're just saying it's there.
Right. But yeah, man, that was a good show. I mean, just for me and you, Zombie, well done.
Yeah. I was worried this was going to be like a recorded segment that we're going to make like 10 minutes long, talking about Demo Man, a lot of cuts.
Nah, I like talking about stuff in real time.
Yeah, again, we were able to relate it to the current media.
Yeah, man, it's like there's plenty of stuff in Demolition Man that just, like Idiocracy, or you're like, holy shit, like what the fuck?
I mean, hell, that could be another topic right there.
Comics has some really good advice about season 3, episode 1.
I've been told that a lot, is to not watch that with anyone nearby.
Or with any children nearby. Holy shit.
Does he eat a baby or something? Because that happens in the comics. He eats a baby.
No. It's worse than that.
Does it involve a dead child?
No.
Okay, never mind then. I'll be fine.
No, it's not. it's crazy.
Is it just like really gory or something?
Right.
It's gonna be like really gory.
So you're out of work, so you're streaming on Twitch. What's do you have some plans for this week? The games you're playing as you're home?
I did plan on streaming more during the weekdays, but I just could not get the motivation to turn on OBS. So I'm just sticking to my Saturday and Sunday schedules, which is currently I'm streaming either Destiny 2 or whatever else I have installed on my computer at the time. I've been thinking about getting back into some VR games because I've been getting some new ones of those.
Nice.
Looking at maybe Arizona Sunshine, which is a zombie shooter.
Oh, yes, I know. Yep, I'm aware of that one.
Yeah, that or Blade and Sorcery, which is just like a gladiator game.
Yep, I've heard of that one. Never gotten into it, but
yeah, you can download mods into it right now, and I downloaded mods that bring stormtroopers into it, so I'm just been kicking stormtrooper ass. A lot of fun there. Anyways,
nice.
But yeah, I'm just sticking to the Saturday Sunday schedule for now. We'll see how it goes.
Nice. Yeah, same with me. I'm sort of just probably just play video games for a little bit tonight with friends, and then Saturday. So tomorrow and Sunday night we'll be doing some game streams over on Twitch. I've sort of nixed the Monday stream because I'm tired and I need to reserve it for other things. But Wednesday nights we have the midweek hump with Sheep City and Horror Emirata, along with No Green Rocks. It's our new co-host, but we're building up a good following. We're building up a good viewer base and guest list. This week is Steph from what's her name? My Nerdy Home. Is that her name? She's a part of Geeks and Gamers. So she's going to be on this week with us. And then I have some other people down the line that we're going to be doing. I'm really, really, really stoked about the Wednesday show and this show. This show it's sort of taken twists and turns.
Good save.
The point of this show is to just unwind. Like I usually have like a beer or coffee with me when we do this show, and I really I want to feel like a bunch of dudes sitting in the garage or in the man cave talking about movies and shows and focusing on a particular movie each week. So
for sure.
Yeah.
We definitely got to get some guest stars in here though. I know last Friday you had like Green Rocks, Amarada was in here too.
Yep. Arcasul would be great to have on. Love to have Arc on. Hell, Codenomics, Herbs, whoever, man. I'm down for anyone. No one needs a following or is required to have a certain amount of viewers or followers to be on here.
No.
But
just have a good mic. Better than mine.
Halfway decent mic and a quiet area to be in. So
don't have a cough.
Yeah. But that's it for us tonight. Codenomics, thanks for hanging out and chatting. Herbs, thank you so much. We'll have to play some games after this. The News Lad, thank you for the memes, dude. You're a fucking legend. You just keep me going. Was there any other ones? Nope, that was it. Who else do we have tonight? Dozing was in here for a bit.
Yeah, Dozing, Engelwolf,
and Trey 50 Daniel, man. Thank you guys all for hanging out. We do have a couple of clips that will be coming out this week. What's that?
We also had Seth Trollins in here.
Oh, Seth Trollins. Yeah, he was here too. Thank you.
And Rock.
And Rock, yes.
And Calvin here. I'm just going through the list here. Sorry.
Dozing's still here. But yeah, that's it for us tonight, guys. Be well, because I'm using Be Well now. And we'll see you guys next week. I don't know what we're talking about next week yet, but we'll figure it out.
I mean, we listed like 3 movies that we could talk about for sure.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Have a great night. We'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Good night, y'all.